Hey, how you doing? Duff here. Just thought I would do a quick summary of unlike my videos of my Z10 testing. Try to make this quick. I know a lot of the videos were quite long, but they were long for a reason. I was just trying to give as much information as possible because I know there's been a lot of people looking for information on the Z10, so I tried to provide as much as I could. Some cases maybe I provided a little bit too much, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. So, anyways, my thoughts. Let's get the outright negative things out of the way first. Let's go negative to not negative or positive, and then positive. Okay, so on the negative side, the wheel is heavy, and that'll come up again as a positive thing too, I guess. But it is heavy. It's very heavy for its size. Just 5 pounds off the weight of my 22-inch Gotway monster that has a 1600 watt-hour battery in it. The weight is just it's just 10 pounds more than my M Super, that actually more than 10 pounds than my 840 watt-hour M Super that is just about the same form factor. So it just makes the wheel feel very different right out of the box. The issue with the button, with the power button being a quick press for instant on, instant off, that has to be a bug of some sort. It has to be. There's no way that they would design it that way, because it is definitely dangerous. There was probably a dozen times that I accidentally turned the wheel on or off as I was trying to move it or just grab it in some way, because it's a momentary press on and off. So that's not great. And the other thing is, if you don't use the handle, the trolley handle, to try to move the bot around, like say you had to lift it into like the back of a 2016 Tacoma, or just carry it in the house because the wheel was so dirty from all your testing. When you try to carry it, the way that the bracket for the pedals is positioned, the edge of that is sharp, man, and it was like cutting my leg basically. It's really sharp, and because the wheel is so heavy, it's not like I can carry it out away from my body. It's gonna hang near your body, and it was just painful to carry. So they ought to do something about that. Take a file to those corners or something. That's not a great design. Okay, so let's get into the so-so things about the wheel. Things I didn't love or hate. I thought the battery life was average, about what I would expect. I would say that depending on your weight and the terrain, that you should get somewhere between 30 and 40 miles. Which is good compared to, like, for example, my M Super, my 840 watt-hour M Super, that can do maybe 25, based on my past testing with that. But then if you move up the line and you compare it to a 1600 watt-hour M Super V3S or 1600 watt-hour ACM, then those mileage comparisons go down quite a bit. So battery life is right in the middle. It should be enough to serve everybody's needs, except the real long range riders like Marty, for example. He might find that as a negative. All right, let's see other things that I was in the middle about. The trolley handle, obviously, it looks cool the way it follows the lines of the case, but it's, as mentioned before, it feels rather flimsy with no real firm lockout detents. So that's it serves its purpose. So I don't hate it, I don't love it, and maybe again with the production model, maybe they can do something to clean that up a little bit, just make it feel a little bit tighter. Another thing that I guess I didn't ride it at night, so I wasn't able to take in a full appreciation of the lights in person. At night is when they'll really shine, but I can tell you during the day, they're not very visible. The way that they're positioned inside the shell around the tire, it's pretty hard to see them during the day. When you compare that to other wheels, like for example designs on like an M10 or a Tesla, where you have that light ring goes around the middle, it's visible night or day. It's very visible. So I kind of wish that Ninebot would have done a little bit more on the lighting, so you could like have some more variety during the daytime. Or like for example how the old Ninebots had a light ring around the side, and the KingSongs do that, and other wheels do that as well. So that's something that I thought that they could have maybe given a little bit more thought to. Again, similarly with the headlight, I think it looks cool during the day, but I did not get to test it at night. From the testing I saw Chris and the New York City crew do, it seemed like the Ninebot Z10 headlight design was more flashy than functional. It seemed like the headlights, like on the Inmotion V10F, were much better. So, all right, so let's move on to the good things. Things I thought that were really good. I think the styling. Whenever I saw the Ninebot Z10, a year ago, I thought the styling was really, really cool. It looks aggressive. It looks mean. The comparisons to the Batmobile, of course, very, very true. I like the styling of the wheel. The power, the power that you heard all kinds of knocks about the power, that a 57 volt power system could not, possibly compete with the newer 84 volt wheels. And I beg to differ. I mean, it's strong. It's a strong wheel. When you first get on it, if I accelerate the same amount that I would accelerate on like my M Super, it doesn't feel like the acceleration was the same. But what you eventually learn is you just need to lean a little bit harder, use more weight when applying braking and acceleration for the Z10, and possibly that's just because of the compact, dense, heavy, low form factor. That's a necessity when you're riding that wheel, and you'll pick up on that after not too long. I thought the hill performance of it was surprisingly good. I felt much stronger going over the hills in Marco on the Z10 than I did on either my Monster or M Super. And if I remember correctly, both the Monster and the M Super got much hotter than the Z10 did, and I did many more passes up and across that hill than I ever did with the Monster or the M Super. So it's a strong wheel. No complaints about the power whatsoever. I guess I should have mentioned the tire. The tire is, the whole wheel is really based around the tire. That was what got everybody's attention, was look at that wide tire. That's crazy. It's going to be a monster on the trails, and it's going to be able to just run over anything. And I think that's true. That part of it is true. When I took it to the swamp and when I was off road in other situations, never was I fearful of not being able to run across something. The tire does handle pretty much anything you can throw at it. As mentioned before, because of whatever design that they use with the tire, it does feel very rigid. Despite being so large and having so much rubber involved, the ride definitely feels rigid. I know Chris Yim messed around with the air pressure up and down on the tire. I left it at whatever Chris sent it to me at, and it's tolerable. It's not like it's awful, but it is definitely different. And because of that width, it does take, as you saw in my videos, it takes an adjustment period to get the hang of how to control a wheel like that. The combination of the wide tire and the very, very heavy weight for its size. It's funny, when James was down here, when we were riding back and forth, James, the guy that drove 4 hours to ride the wheel, to test the wheel, we were, as we were riding, we were thinking about, why is this wheel this heavy? Because a 1,000 watt-hour battery, that's far less than like his M Super V3 S Plus, for example, and but that wheel is lighter than the Z10. And James had a theory that maybe it's because the motor has a lot of windings in it. Maybe all that weight is in the motor, because it shouldn't be from the batteries. So we were unsure where all of that heft comes from, and if it was intentional or just a side effect of the wide tire and wide motor. Again, about the tire, open road riding, it was fine. It was fine for open road riding. It was comfortable for open road riding. You saw the issues I had with some off and on wobbles going at higher speeds, but I just attribute that to my body adjusting to the physics of the wheel. The Z10 is definitely more than capable of doing open road riding. It was very, very comfortable. I would say it was damn close to the Monster as far as the experience doing that 20-mile open road ride. And along those lines, the pedals, that was another thing that a lot of people cited as a negative. that the pedals looked very similar to what came off the Ninebot 1 series, and they do look like that in length. But I need to really look it up, but they feel a lot wider than the standard Ninebot 1 pedals. I had space to either side of my feet that I'm not accustomed to having, even with the M Super pedals, because I have large size 13 feet. So the pedals never were an issue for me. I think the biggest issue with their design really is that rubber. If they get wet, it would be very, very slippery. Because I do remember that with my Ninebot 1, that design does get slippery. But I believe Ninebot's already addressing that. They're including grip tape with all the production Z10s that has the cutouts to go over the rubber to give you better traction with your feet. So it seems like they're going to be addressing that. But otherwise, the pedals felt great. I had no problem with it. And the height as well, that was another thing you heard. Oh, the pedals are low, pedals are low. They are low compared to like a V10F, which has very high pedals. And the new 18L, I guess, has higher pedals as well. But when I stuck the Z10 next to my Monster and M Super, the pedals were the same height, if not a little bit higher on the Z10. So since I've been riding those wheels all this time, I noticed no issue with the pedals being low. Okay, so that's the thoughts that are coming to my head right this moment. But the big question is, overall, what is your opinion on the Z10, and are you going to be buying one? That's probably a big question on some people's minds, because I haven't really said that. Because originally that was when I first saw it, that was my vow. I'm gonna buy a Z10. So overall, my opinion of the Z10 is very, very good. It's out of the 4 new wheels, I think it will offer people the most unique riding experience without a doubt. You're going to get in this thing, you're going to go, whoa, this is different. Whereas the M Super X, V10F, 18L, they're all very, very good, strong wheels, but they're not really breaking the mold. They're just doing what they've kind of done in the past better, with better spec motors, higher battery capacities. The Z10 sticks out as something truly unique, and it'll be interesting to see if its cues are picked up on by other companies. If other companies try to offer like real fat-wheeled electric unicycles, and I guess sales of the Z10 will kind of dictate that. It was nice to be able to firsthand establish that the wheel is a good performer. It does look good in person. The battery life is respectable. A lot of the negativity that I had heard prior to this, just from my first-hand experience, just did not hold up. It's a good wheel. I have no doubt that it's a good wheel, and I have no doubt that it's going to sell well. So now, talking about selling, is my next wheel going to be a Z10? If I'm being honest, it's probably not. I'm probably going to buy a KingSong 18L as my next wheel, for a couple reasons. I think for my riding style, the 18L is going to be a better fit, and I've never had a KingSong wheel, and I've talked about getting one for a long time. I've talked about the quality of KingSong based on first-hand experiences relayed by others, but I have no first-hand experience with it. So I just feel like I need to get an 18L as my next wheel. That being said, it doesn't mean I'll never get a Z10. I have some loose framework in my head where I'm going to be trying to sell my original M Super, maybe, because that's an 18-inch wheel, and who knows what will happen down the line. Maybe 18L first, then a Z10. Who knows? I don't know. But I just want to make it very clear that overall, I was very, very impressed with the Z10's performance. It'll be interesting to see the reviews of the guys that are getting it after me, Colton Chooch out in Denver, and Marty especially, Marty with his hill tests out there. I'm really curious to see how it'll do, but I think it's going to surprise people because it felt really, really strong going over those hills in Marco. So I'm kind of expecting the same thing out there. We'll see. So anyways, that's all I got for you. It's supposed to be short, but according to this, I was talking over 15 minutes, but I'll edit this down as much as possible. If you found this video interesting, or if you liked my coverage of the Z10 pre-production model, please consider giving this video a big thumbs up. If this is your first time on the channel, please consider subscribing, and feel free to leave your comments below, positive or negative. I got both kinds of feedback on the videos, and some of it was legitimate, and I tried to act on it, and I'm not above criticism. Definitely not. So feel free to offer constructive criticism wherever you see it necessary. So that's all I got for you for now. Till next time, duff me now.